Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Potentially massive news for Atlanta FaZe going into the 2023 season. Coach Crowder, an integral part of their success the last couple of seasons since the inception of the CDL, may well be stepping away from the team as their head coach. Is he going to go to another team? Is he going to go to full-time content? But what does this mean for the team that many consider to be a dynasty within the CDL era? Very much intrigued your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. Really up to the channel. Thanks very much indeed for doing that one. First of all, just wanted to mention this real quick. Call of Duty do a video here explaining how exactly they design some of the maps and some effectively screenshots from what the maps might look like here going into Modern Warfare 2. This was also noticed though in the trailer that, I mean, yeah, look at this weapon here. It seems to have a lot of recoil, visual recoil and actual like real recoil as well on the weapon, which is obviously interesting to see because the last couple of games, the guns effectively just shoot laser beams and they're incredibly easy to use. This might be an implication that's not going to be the case, but more than likely you'll add like 70 attachments on your gun and it will just shoot dead straight as it generally does. This also I thought was pretty cool from Drazah, Australian player I believe. He's looking actually to move over to the US. We've seen a couple of players do this over the last couple of seasons. Vikil, for example, other like Australian players have tried it on occasion. We saw the Latin American guys of D1 Gaming tried this briefly. Some European guys have tried it as well too. Generally decent success. You can move out there to the US, get better practice locally, get on some decent teams and get your name out there much more than staying in the APAC side, because even Pred, right, we know what a force Pred is of nature in the present day. In his first season here in the CDL, winning Rookie of the Year, hands down with an absolute landslide, and I think over the course of the season, very much arguably the best SMG of the entire year. When you consider start to finish, he was stuck down there in the APAC side, you know, destroying everyone in his own region, but he didn't really get much respect for that, right? Okay, you know, he's just playing in the APAC region, who really cares? And obviously he comes over here and does absolute damage, so there's a similar thing probably happening in other regions as well, and if you get out there to the US, then obviously it bumps your chances up. So I thought this was kind of cool to look at. This also interesting as we kind of transition into the FaZe topic, because the big talking point this year was this game was just all coin flip based, complete luck, and here's Call of Duty Vanguard. Now look, this isn't maybe the most technical analysis in the world of if series go to a map 5, then the game is effectively more luck based than usual, because of course you can get situations where the best hardpoint teams will often play the best search and destroy teams, and therefore like it's more likely to happen potentially. But still, the idea is theoretically there's a 37.5% chance of a game going to game 5, and the most game 5s in COD history actually went to Black Ops 4 with 36% of game 5s. Vanguard is only 34.7 game 5s, still a lot higher than the other more recent Call of Duties. But that's kind of interesting that Black Ops 4 was actually this high up, maybe to do with which teams are playing each other, or maybe it just wasn't as good from a competitive perspective as some people may think it was, even though at the same time we did get United winning back-to-back. 100 Thieves also went back-to-back, so I do think there was certainly some element of skill in that title, but interesting to look at, right? The Vanguard isn't the highest game 5 percentage ever. I think, to be honest, Vanguard, for the majority of the year, Major 1, Major 2, Major 3, was not particularly game 5 intensive, as was not really Champs itself. But the entirety of Major 4, they were just game 5s all over the shop. There was like 15 out of 17 series all went to game 5, like 15 out of 17 or something went to game 5 in a row, which was just absolutely absurd. And it happened at the Major as well as in the kind of online qualifiers as well. And obviously, like, part of this maybe is the teams generally being more competitive than they were maybe in a season like Cold War, which has the lowest percentage, largely because FaZe would just 3-0 absolutely everyone. So there's a skill gap question here, there's a competitiveness question here, but I thought it was interesting to see that actually Vanguard wasn't the highest ever game 5 percentages in Call of Duty history. aBeZy though still wasn't a fan. I've never uninstalled a game faster in my life, so yes, aBeZy probably is never going to play Vanguard again if at all he can help it. Now this also, as we kind of transition into the Rostermania stuff on it with regard to, well, where Temp might potentially end up, because that's the question there. Will they let him go at Paris Legion? Because they can extend his offer if they would like. This might indicate, this clip actually, that they're going to extend his option with Paris going into Vegas Legion next season, because he's on a 1+1 deal. He re-signed a deal last year because they released their entire roster to re-sign them again so that they could, well, effectively keep them on if they wanted to and also save salary for last off-season. But they can, if they want to, given Temp was their best player, re-sign him and extend him, and Temp could do nothing about it unless another team comes through and buys him out of that contract, which of course might well be possible, and Paris probably would accept the money, or now Vegas Legion, sorry. So this clip here, Temp is saying in the background he's going to be in Vegas probably, which might well imply that Paris are not just moving to Vegas as kind of a franchise, but also they might be setting up some sort of headquarters there, or some sort of like team house or something in Vegas where he can actually be there, or if Temp's just kind of saying this because he thinks he's going to be on the Vegas Legion wherever he actually ends up being based.
Live here. You might need to move here, bro. Dead ass.
What?
You might need to move here, bro. I might need to move to LA.
Yeah, what? You want to move here?
I'm pro, baby. LA. I'll be in Vegas probably.
Really? You like Vegas?
So I do kind of hope that Temp isn't on that team unless they actually build a competitive roster, because some have said that despite the fact that the ownership apparently is going to be the same, they now have more capital to spend, more resources. So look, we'll see what they decide to do. This just to mention though for you guys, because on a couple of days time on the Sunday at August 14th, that's when the team options have to be exercised by. So if Paris do want to extend Temp's contract, they have to do that by then. If they don't, then he's officially a free agent after that. So he's a free agent after August the 14th, and then on August the 22nd, 1 week and a day, I guess, later, that's when the free agents can actually sign new deals. But of course, in the meantime, they're still going to be talking to other teams and the like. So, and yeah, and of course, Temp, if he does stay on Vegas, at least he's going to get a little bit more salary this year because they bumped it up a little bit as we saw the other day. So yes, maybe Temp's going to stay on Vegas and hopefully they can build a competitive team this year. We'll see about that one. I've also heard people say maybe Clayster to Vegas is an option as well. So yeah, Clay plus Temp plus 2 SMGs. That could be kind of fun if they get decent SMGs, which hopefully is the case. Let's talk FaZe then and Crowder. Ray actually pointed this out to me a couple of days ago, just after the World Championship concluded, and I looked here on Spoonbill to try and find evidence of it, and it is exactly the case. So Crowder changed his name, firstly from FaZe Crowder just to Crowder. He's actually now changed it back to Crowder, but the bio update is honestly the big one, right? So as you can see here, he takes out 2015 and 2021 COD World Champion, because of course 2021 as a coach, but 2015 as a player on denial back in the day. But of course the big thing is he takes out head coach Atlanta FaZe from his bio. That is a massive deal, right? Right after Champs finishes, he takes head coach FaZe out of his bio. Like, surely he's not going to return to the head coaching position if this is indeed the case. As you can see here, he does no longer have that in his bio. He's still FaZe Crowder, but it's not Crowder, it's still FaZe Crowder, so still part of FaZe, but maybe not their head coach anymore. And this is what we've seen before, for example, with TP, right, where he was the coach of OpTic. He wanted to go down the content route, and I think for quite some time, maybe at least a year, if not a couple of years, Crowder's not been so happy being a coach. It's a frustrating role. Like, being a coach, you get all the blame when you lose, and you get basically none of the credit when you win. So it might not be the best role in the world anyway. And Crowder might just think, look, he's done this for a few years at this point. He's been a coach, he's been a player for many years. Like, he wants to step away, do content, try and do what TP's done, and have a good time with that. And even I saw right after Champs, he was wearing a 100 Thieves t-shirt actually after that one, and that was the immediate kind of question mark there. Would Crowder potentially go to another team like Los Angeles Thieves? We would expect that Mudog and JCap will keep their jobs after what they did at the end of the season, but there was still a question mark. Okay, JCap, what did he do for the majority of it? Of course, like, JCap, in fairness, was a solo coach for the majority of the season, and that's always a difficult role to have. We saw that Sender was getting a lot of flack on OpTic last season being the sole coach. They bring in Rambo. That team tends to work a bit better from the coaching perspective, and they get less flack now than they did. So I feel like as a sole coach role, you've got to cut them flack to some degree, because they've got to do everything. They've got to do the analyst work, they've got to do the kind of the team coaching, the mental aspect, the physical aspect, and also the strategic aspect, right? So it's difficult for a one-man show to deliver the goods on that. So once they brought Shane in, like JCap and Shane obviously seemed to be a better combo than they were apart, you could well say. But yeah, that was the thing. Obviously, Crowder was briefly with 100 Thieves back in Black Ops 4 when Priester and Crowder were loaned from FaZe to Thieves for the end of the season, and they of course did a great job with that team at the time. Crowder then went back to FaZe and kept delivering the goods from a coaching perspective with Atlanta FaZe. And from our understanding about FaZe, he's a pretty big role actually to maintaining that team culture. He sets the culture on the team. He's great friends with all the players, understands like, okay, what they need, where they go wrong, like, the direction they need to take to improve and stuff like that. And Crowder, of course, not being the head coach anymore is potentially a massive loss for the Atlanta FaZe team as a whole. Ben J. Nassim does say he's not going to another team, so kind of confirming that he will stay on FaZe probably to do content. Ben actually says, I don't think he's decided if he's done coaching or not. This was a taxing season on most coaches, so from my understanding, it's an open decision he has not made yet, right? But if it's an open decision, I'm not exactly sure why he would remove it, right? If he's just considering it, then maybe just leave the head coach in there for now, and then if you decide to quit, then, quit in a couple of months. So makes me think that he's at least like 65% sure that he's going to leave and not be a coach anymore if that's the decision he's decided to make. So what do you guys think this potentially could mean for this team and the Atlanta FaZe? This also to mention real quick, I've got a rumor via TacticalRab. Let's go. Actually, I got on the website here, but yeah, Crone's managed to put together effectively a breaking point hub here for all Rostermania rumors and confirmations as it presently stands. Only only a couple of things so far. Rumor around Crowder, of course, the confirmation that bevelz is leaving the Los Angeles Guerrillas as their kind of secondary coach or whatever. But yes, that's interesting, right? We've only had a couple of days here into the Rostermania period, and already we've got a couple of potential coaching changes going down. So if Crowder is indeed gone, let's say that's the case. We know that they respect him very highly, the FaZe guys, and maybe he's just had enough of coaching in general. Like, could this potentially derail the FaZe team to a certain extent? Because of course, like, it's not just the four guys over there. The coach, the manager of the team definitely has some role to play in maintaining the state of the team, right? Because of course, like, at the end of the day, if you're FaZe and you've won everything in the last couple of years, and you've gone into this season in Vanguard here, and you've come fourth, well, you've come second 4 times, third once, and never won an event, like, that's going to be taxing, right? That's going to be, I'm sure the players are incredibly frustrated with not being able to win one this season because, they feel like they were the best team at times. They should have at least won something. They lost to 4 different teams in grand finals, and being able to go back to the drawing board after, let's say, Major 4, Major 3, and losing another grand finals, and to get the team's headspace in the right place and be like, okay, look, guys, just focus up. This is the team, like, this is the team of 4 we're going to be going with, and let's stick with it. Like, the coach obviously has some role to play in maintaining the team kind of chemistry in that case. If all of a sudden Crowder leaves, and like, okay, let's say they go into next year and come second again, or like they have a couple of bad results at the start of next year, like all of a sudden that friction, which will build up inherently if you're not winning, will potentially boil over if there isn't Crowder there to put a lid on it, right? You could certainly theorize something like that's coming. No, it's not like they've got a small coaching team, right? They've got Crowder, the head coach. RJ is kind of the assistant coach, but I think does a lot of the roles sometimes, and I think they even take turns between RJ, the Sloth Bearers, I think his Twitter ad or something, and Crowder. He's been around FaZe for many years, RJ, so I feel like he can do a good job in this role. He knows the players, but and I don't know how he behaves up behind the scenes, but it doesn't feel to me like he's quite a Crowder type character that actually might well have a crucial impact on the culture of the team behind the scenes. Maybe RJ can do a good job. Maybe they bring someone else in, but just this to mention here, November 2021 from Arcitys, us versus the world mindset, words to coach Crowder. So obviously all the players feel this way about Crowder, what he's done for their mentality, and without Crowder part of the team, like that could actually be a massive deal because FaZe already right now, like they effectively have to come into next year and start to win again. And if they don't, you do feel like this roster is a ticking time bomb. Of course, there's no clear change you can actually make with this team to upgrade in any of the roles, but like sometimes things play out their course, and maybe it's even more likely now Crowder's gone. So of course, like all theorizations, he might well return. Of course, there has been some talk as well. Could they bring in another coach then, right? Do they do want 2 guys? Because as I've said, you don't really want a one-man show. Maybe RJ and aBeZy can do a good job there. Maybe aBeZy wants to go elsewhere anyway. Maybe Crowder wants to go elsewhere. But Parasite might be an option as well to consider. So definitely an interesting situation. Intrigued to hear your thoughts on this one in the comment section below. Just to finish off with a few things here. Thought this is kind of interesting actually. The flag tweeted out Nation and Scump have the same number of rings. I guess this is true, but like, do you really count winning it as a kind of coach or owner or whatever as a ring? Like, does Pentagram have a ring being a substitute here on the team? Like, I don't think that really counts, to be honest. So I don't know. Like Crowder, I guess, is he he's a 1-time world champion, but in his bio he had as kind of being a 2-time world champion as a coach, and now Nature as an owner, he's won 1, but like I don't know if that really counts. It depends. If he gets one made for him, then I guess it's a ring. But the CDL are only going to make 4 for the players, I think, and maybe 1 for the coach as well. Not exactly sure. So I don't think it really counts, but I suppose we'll see how that one goes. This to mention as well on Minnesota Rocket, because of course they're a big question mark of the off season as well. Pro tournaments 21 since the inception of their franchise. They've got, this is classic Rocker, isn't it? Like 50% of a series win loss, average placing 7, pretty much bang on average. They did of course win at that stage 5 last year, 3 appearances in finals, no COD champs rings, fair bit of prize money. So not a bad couple of seasons of Rocker, but they've generally been pretty mediocre apart from the team at the end of Cold War. And just to finish out with this, to roast the CDL a little bit, because they did their top 10 plays in the World Championships, and they somehow managed to miss the best play of the entire year. Pred's play against FaZe on that Tuscan hardpoint was, I think, the best play of the entire season, and it's certainly like the best play at champs, and somehow it was only 11th best or something. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new as always, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.